So I filmed a video and I wasn't really sure if I was ever going to post it because it just didn't hold my attention. And I think the reason why is I didn't go into enough detail. So throughout this video, I'm going to interject myself and I'm going to give a little more detail. So it's going to be a longer form video. Stick with it. I think the information I share is super important, and it's how I went from living paycheck to paycheck to being able to have my needs taken care of for at least a year in my reserves in the bank. And just a video. Like I said, I'll interject occasionally with stuff that I find is an important detail that I may be left out. Something I truly believe is important for you and me and anyone who wants long-term success financially and in life, basically living below your means. And what I mean by living below your means, as your income grows, by the same ratio, you should not increase your spending. So obviously there are a lot of ways to live below your means. And the way I go about it by no means is like the way I think everybody needs to. A really big key for me getting started is how I'm going to explain right here. It is not always how I do it currently, but it was the very first way I got this thought process and mindset going. So I thought that was an important key that I left out. This was my start. I still constantly reaffirm these habits and keep them going, but for sure this was the start. It doesn't mean that's the only stuff I do now, but it was the start of developing these habits. You should have a baseline household budget, and you don't go above and beyond that. Something that I could pay someone for as I get making more money, but I don't need to, and it's not like something that takes from me where I could make more income. I'd still do that myself instead of paying someone, and I take what I would have paid someone and I put that in a savings account, and then I use that money for a predetermined investment type of scenario where I take the creature comforts of living below my means in a sense. I take that money that I would be using and put it to work for me so that my income will grow again. I'm going to give you some examples because I know it's a little confusing. My current philosophy is to minimize my outgoing as much as possible. And some of the ways I do that are I only have one streaming service at a time. I always have Amazon Prime just because we use Amazon Prime for deliveries, and the streaming service comes with it. So I don't count that one because it does not take additional money out of my pocket. So it's not extra money. So right now we have Netflix. We jump around. When the family's kind of done and we think we've seen everything we need to see, we'll cancel it and start a new one. We could easily afford to have all of them. I only will have one at a time. And we just sacrifice sometimes the things we may want to watch for living below our means. I always kind of have dirty cars because I won't pay someone to wash them for me. I used to, and then I realized I have 4 cars currently. If I had him come every week or every other week, the price every time he came was between $250 and $300 for just the basic inside and out wash and detail. So I get that when I'm talking about I don't pay people to wash my cars anymore, a little bit of it is lost on you when the car I'm washing is a McLaren, which I build this into my life. I don't make it take from my life. Like with the 720, I don't always nail it, but I try to, as much as possible, ensure that I'm not throwing money away on these cars and I'm making sound purchases at good prices to where I can hold as much value in them as possible and get in and out to use them as more of a savings account. So while yes, I'm sitting here saying I save $250, $300 on car washes, I'm spending $6,000 on the car payment. I understand how that sounds, but it does not change the philosophy and the concepts behind what I'm saying. I thought that'd be an important interjection here. Anything like wax or anything extra was additional fees. So what I realized is I know how to wash cars. I can wash my cars. Now they're a little dirtier because it doesn't get done as consistently, but every time I wash my car, I take $250, put it in a savings account. If I do that every week, that's $250 every week that I'm putting in my savings that I can afford, I'm able to afford, but now that is going to a more productive thing. Just like I could have 2 or 3 more streaming services. So they average like $15 to $20 per streaming service. I know there are 2 other streaming services we would like to have that I refuse to have. So I put an additional $50 just because I make it easier for myself. Like I put $50 more per month in this account. Every time I have a coffee, I used to go to Dunkin' or Starbucks or somewhere like that, grab a $5 coffee. So every time I make a cup of coffee, I make a mark. When I make it to $100, I take $100 and put it in my savings account. When that savings account reaches the predetermined dollar amount that I need for the investment I want to make, I go and buy that investment. And living below my means now becomes an investment tool for me long term to be able to grow my income instead of having it take from me and still living the same paycheck to paycheck like lifestyle that I was living before. I now can still, I still live a nice life. I still have really nice cars. I have a great house, a great family. We don't really want for a bunch of stuff like we used to back in the day when we were living with way less income and way less money. But what I've learned from that point to this point is it wasn't so much how much I was making, it was what I was doing with the money and squandering it, and that's why I was remaining poor. So now that I've figured that out and I'm putting my money in better places that long-term benefit me without fully short-term making me live a life I don't want to live, I prioritize things and I get those things. But I don't get the other things that are just like it that I didn't prioritize as much. Overall, I think it's a really good philosophy that anybody at any income level, if you practice this, you'll see returns. Now, if you pair this with what I say is paying yourself first, you get savings rolling really well, really quick. So I said it in the beginning, but I kind of haven't continued telling you throughout this video. And so I think it's really important to stress this point. Don't do this stuff if it's taking you away from something that you could make more money on. It's Sunday. I'm washing my cars. I don't do my normal money making activities on Sundays. So I'm not taking the time that would normally be how I make my normal income and pushing that aside to wash my car. That's a term I say is stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. So if it's something like that that's taking from you and not allowing you to make or achieve your full earning potential, don't do it. That's when you pay someone and you just subtract the amount of money you spent from them on what you actually earned to make sure you're constantly tracking your income earning abilities properly. So I just figured it's an extra thing I should point out because it's an important step that you don't want to devalue yourself and do something when you would be making more money. Also, this next section, I apologize for the number of times that I say less volatile or the word volatile in general. I cut out as many as I can without, I think, killing the message. But apparently I was very excited about that word. Maybe I just learned it. You can make investments quicker, and as long as you're making good choices with lower risk investments at the beginning, and maybe later on you could take more volatile and risky investments. So I'm not saying go buy a bunch of crypto or stocks or something like that right off the bat. I'm not saying they're not good investments. So the first few investments you want to make them at a less volatile rate so you get a more consistent return. That more consistent return is going to start making you get more excited to invest, because every time it works out, you gain more confidence, you gain more ability, you gain more excitement to want to do it, and then you start building momentum. And when you build momentum and you have good investments going, then you can maybe invest in a few of them. If they don't work out, you're not out because you've got all those positive ones going. So some of my investments previously were I bought some houses, investment properties. They're in Pennsylvania. They're very affordable. They're not $500,000 houses. They're really affordable houses. I got one for $25,000. I got a couple for $45,000. I'm always in the market looking for more. They're very reliable, consistent money. I've even invested in some of my friends' real estate deals where it's an interest-only type of loan, and I could pull it and I could put it somewhere else. That got me excited and got me rolling. Then the next level, I started getting whole life insurance policies. And these things can all be different for you than they are me. These are the things that I found were valuable for me. And by no means am I saying these are what you should do. This is what worked for me and my tolerance and my risk level at the time. Now I'm getting a little more excited and wanting to grow and build, but I'm looking to multiply them and grow them quicker. So I'm actually willing to sacrifice more of my daily comforts to get going on that, and that's the car washes and the coffees and the streaming services I used to buy tons of hats and shoes. Anytime I go to the mall, I will pick a pair of shoes I would want to buy. I can buy them. I have the money. I don't buy them. And then I go and take the $180 or whatever they were. I put it in my savings account. It is a practice of delayed gratification, because my reward when I pay that off is I can pick one thing I gave up that I didn't get, like the pair of shoes or the hat or something like that, and I can buy it as a reward for my patience. Usually I still don't, but I can. I would rather wait and make those rewards big things like the McLaren 765 LT, because holy crap, that thing's amazing. I don't think I did a good enough job explaining here that the reward has to be in line with the achievement. You don't wash your car for a couple of weeks and then go buy a McLaren. It's not how it works. You have to set the goals in advance, and the reward that you think is in line with them and matches the achievement. So hats and stuff, that could be if I string together 3 months in a row of not buying coffee, washing or paying for car washes, that kind of stuff. I could go buy a hat or a pair of shoes. And when I say usually don't, it's because I have quite a few already, so it's not like I'm missing and I don't have one and I need one. But if I want one and I've set that goal and I could do it, but if I decide I don't really want one, or there's nothing I'm really into at that point that I've looked around for, I roll it back into the savings towards the next bigger goal. And I think that's where I missed on here, was explaining you have to reward yourself and you have to stay true to these rewards, but the smaller rewards are okay if you bypass those and go roll them into the bigger ones. But don't bypass the big ones, because you'll start losing trust in yourself. You'll start cheating on the hard stuff with the saving the money, and you don't want to do that because they're going to drop your habit. And you want to keep that habit strong, because that's the key to this, is developing the savings habit. It's a contagious thing, the savings and the rewarding and the growing my wealth. So that is my goal for the next 12 to 24 months, is grow my net worth, my assets, my wealth, sacrifice short-term for the long-term comfort, and later on I can buy the fun stuff that I'm not currently buying. And one final thought for you is, I know some of this stuff seems super basic, and it is. It's nothing like groundbreaking or, you know, shocking for anyone. But to me, success is not complicated. Doing a lot of these little normal things consistently and not falling off, and developing habits and stringing them together, and they compound into great things. Each one individually is not going to bring like immediate great results and change your life. But when you string them together, things get better really quick, and you'll be shocked at how fast, as long as you keep doing all the little easy things right all the time. So for me, it's tough when I hear people that I talk to, or somebody who, you know, does a one-on-one consultation with me or something, and they're like, I don't really need help in mindset stuff. I got that figured out. And it always reminds me of the Socrates quote of, I'm the smartest man in the world because I know one thing, and that's that I know nothing. That doesn't mean call yourself stupid. That means when you compare what you know with what you don't know, what you don't know is significantly more. So don't get arrogant. Don't think you can never do work on your mindset, and string together the simple little things consistently for great results. The key for keeping this stuff working is don't forget to actually save the money. So I like to have the physical dollars, because mentally, this deal, I like to do the cash, but then I go put that cash in the ATM, into the savings account, to where it's harder to get to. Find what moves the needle for you. Visually, for me, seeing it stack up is what keeps me motivated to keep doing it on the days where maybe I don't feel like doing it. I go look in that drawer and I get it moving. That's why I don't let it build up too much, because then it makes me lazy. So once it hits a certain amount, I get rid of it and it's empty again, and I have to do the work to fill it back up. Definitely in the comments, let me know what you think of this. If you do stuff like this, let me know how you save money and what you do with it. And then with that, I'll see you on the next one.